during the process of me becoming a lawyer, essentially having to do online law school, I just happen to keep crossing over stuff. I'm reading case law, I'm reading about this case and that case, and what I'm understanding. Oh, sorry, battery's about to die. Yeah, so what I'm understanding with all this is that I can cite at least three instances. Let's say there's the violation of the protective order that I was never served with, that the Washington County Sheriff's Department kept me in jail over, which is a violation of my civil rights. I've got Washington County Sheriff's Department pulling me out of my truck and throwing me on the ground and roughing me up and doing all the stuff that they did in December 15th, which is a violation of my rights, civil rights. And then when they arrested me for confronting Alan Hill about that bullshit he was up to, I was parked in front of the federal building, and so just to drive the point home, be complete assholes about it, they told everybody that I made it a bomb threat. They called in a bomb squad. They evacuated the federal building, made a big scene out of something that was nothing, not nothing, but it was me, and Alan Hill straightening some shit out. They decided that they were going to really throw the book at me and show me how the system worked, and tell everybody that I threatened to bomb the federal building. That worked out for them in the moment because they got everybody in a hoopla and got everybody really mad at me. They had the feds out and involved at that point. You've got everybody. When you threaten to bomb the federal building, everybody's there. So they thought, ha ha ha, we just whipped your ass hard. We got the feds on you. Problem was, the feds looked around and said, there's nothing here. You guys are full of shit. And they left. Well, at that point, all I had done was smashed a window and told a guy he was an asshole, essentially. He made all kinds of claims that, I had come into the building and, he told all kinds of lies. First, he said that the reason I was there was because Heather had stopped, or that he had stopped selling Heather's shoes, which, if you look at the statements that he made in January of 2017, he contradicted that statement completely when we had the misdemeanor trial for the scene that took place on the square in front of Terror Tots. What he didn't realize was that whole situation was filmed by a city worker. It could have been filmed by anybody. I could have had cameras going, but Alan Hill's so stupid that he had a phone in one hand, crying and screaming, there's a guy here to kill me, and I'm terrified, and recording everything from an audio standpoint. So we have all the audio, and there's a city worker with the video, and you can put those two together and watch it like a movie. And Alan Hill's telling everybody that the reason that I'm there is because he told Heather that he's not going to sell her shoes anymore, and that I smashed the window, went inside the store chasing after him, and all this other bullshit. And then what happens is he didn't realize, oh wow, there's cameras, and 911 gets recorded. And when they sat down and looked at it all, they said, well, here's the thing, you're full of shit. He didn't go in the building. He never threatened to kill you. He basically just came down here and said, you know what, you need to have your ass whipped for roughing up a woman who's 6 months old, pregnant with a baby that is either mine or his. You see how stupid this is? Heather's pregnant, and it's questionable about who the father is, whether it's me or Alan Hill, and he's telling the city that the reason I'm down there smashing windows out of the place is because he decided to stop selling Heather's shoes. And the reality is he knew exactly why I was pissed off at him, because he and Heather had been running secret shenanigans behind my back, and that baby that she was carrying around could have just as well been his as mine. So, and then, like I said, in January, when I faced a misdemeanor trial for this, he even told the court at the time, he said, well, I just decided, or no, he said, well, I said something about, well, what the stuff went down with Heather, and why was it such a violent scene that she had to leave without her stuff, and that Daisy had to go back later. They wouldn't even let me go back later, because you know what would happen if I would have gone back later to get that stuff from Alan Hill, considering all the circumstances of what's going on, where he's trying to screw me over and probably banging my wife and all this other stuff. Like, you can imagine, they're not going to let me go up there. So Daisy goes up and gets the stuff. Well, when I questioned him about this in my misdemeanor trial, he backed up and fucked up, forgot what he had said the first time, or it didn't make sense the second time. He was like, oh shit, this isn't making sense. I got to tell a different story. So in that trial, he said, well, that was Heather's choice to not sell the clothes here, the shoes here. So think about this. He's telling people that it was Heather's choice to not sell the shoes here, but he's telling everybody that the reason that I'm there, smashing the window out, telling them to come out on the sidewalk, and talk to me the way that you talk to my pregnant wife. And for some reason, I'm the unreasonable party here. And because, yeah, nobody's going to go smash a window out of the place because you stopped selling their wife's clothes. He's full of shit. He's a liar. Cops just realized right off the bat everything he told them was a lie. The city prosecutor was stupid enough to go ahead and push that through, and they prosecuted me. And I was okay with that because Judge William Story was the one sitting on the bench. And I thought, how ironic that Judge William Story, the guy who David Mack was writing his second book about, called The Rest of the Story, is who we're talking about now. We're talking about Judge William Story, who used to be the circuit court judge for years and years and years while Ralph Baker was out there running his shenanigans, growing marijuana, selling drugs, being a complete, everybody knows about Ralph Baker, right? Just read the book, When Money Grows on Trees. That was about Ralph Baker and Judge Story and everybody in Carroll County and Madison County and everybody that was in on that whole operation. That criminal operation that was taking place in Newton and Madison County and Carroll County back in the day, Judge Story was the one overseeing that whole thing because he was the judge. So here I am in a misdemeanor trial with a Judge William Story who used to be a big shot in bed with the Waltons and the Tysons and Ralph Baker. Well, when he started doing his investigation into the book he was going to write about Story, the follow-up to his When Money Grows on Trees, he somehow mysteriously, this is crazy, you can't even make this shit up. I'm going to leave right there and let you look into what happened to David Mack after he wrote a book about money growing on trees and when he started his follow-up called Here's the Rest of the Story. Look into David Mack, see what happened to him. It's a wild coincidence that you would never believe would actually happen, but it did. My point is being, the reason I started this video was this. Washington County Sheriff, first off, arrested me and extradited me on a protective order that they never actually served. That's a violation of my civil rights. Then they had me arrested on some bullshit charge for, well, they only arrested me for smashing the window, but they tried to have me charged with a federal bomb threat that didn't pan out. So they held me for 94 days on a $500,000 bond, which was twice the bond of the murderers that I was shacking up with. So while Tim Helder is running me down murder row with all these murderers, I'm finding out that their bail is half what mine is. These are people who have murdered people and burned the house down to cover it up, or supposedly, allegedly have killed people. There's one guy there who right in front of the entire family had stabbed his brother to death. There's people who have, there's evidence, lots of evidence that they actually murdered people. And these people were sitting next to me in a cell with half the bail that I was on, half the bond. Now, the only charge that I ever had was, Class D felony stuff, which holds like $5,000 to $7,000 bonds. Usually guys will kick out $500 or $700 and get out of jail. Well, Washington County Sheriff and Washington County judges decided that they were going to go ahead and hold me on a $500,000 bond for 94 days on a Class D felony. So what that is that's another violation. But I skipped over the middle violation. There's the first violation from the summer of 2015 when I was in the Port of Houston, and then they extradited me for that violation of protective order. I skipped over the one in December 2015 where the Washington County Sheriff deputy grabbed my wrist, opened my door, grabbed my wrist, twisted my arm, and pulled me out of my truck and threw me on the ground and assaulted me and batterized me and brutalized me for nothing because I was trying to move and the low water bridge fell out. That's all I'd done. I had done absolutely nothing wrong. I'm laying in my truck asleep trying to get through the night, and this guy comes up, opens the door, grabs me, jerks me out, throws me on the ground, and treats me like I'm a... I assume he probably just thought I was some drunk that passed out in my truck or something, but he was wrong. That's the thing. That's why you have to have probable cause. That's why you have to actually know what you're doing when you start fucking with people. All these people, judges, sheriffs, everybody, prosecutors, lawyers, everybody has just decided they're just going to fuck with me because, whatever, you're powerless and that's how the system works. We're not going to really even read the paperwork that your wife writes or, talk to the kids that are supposedly in danger. We don't care, dude. We're busy. Well, I have a fucking problem with that. If you're busy and you're not checking up on the work you're doing and you're fucking with me and my family, I'm going to get interested in what's going on here and try to figure out how to sort it out. So I have sorted it out. 3 times now that I think I've laid out here pretty clearly, Washington County has managed to violate my civil rights. And I have it all very, 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 very well documented. And this is actually just the shit that you can see on the outside. Do you have any idea the stuff that they did to me inside of the Washington County Detention Center when you talk about violating people's rights? That list, I mean, that's going to be all on their cameras and all on their paperwork. But I'm just telling you that I've got the documentation in my hand for 3 instances of civil rights violations that includes brutality and incarceration for 94 days one time, 14 days another time, 10 days another time. I'm talking about like over 3 months, probably 4 months of incarceration and having your ass beat over nothing that what amounts to nothing but a civil rights violation. So I read in the paper the other day something about Minneapolis police or some municipality paid George Floyd's family something like $27 million because they figured out that they violated his rights. So where we're about to go right now with Fifth Gear is that everybody who has ever violated my rights in any way, whether it be Heather or her attorney or the police or a judge or a federal officer or Alan Hill or certainly Tim Helder. If anybody has any question or any concern or any is worried about or wondered about, I wonder if Tim Helder ever violated the law and violated John Scharnhorst's civil rights, I don't think there's any question of that. And then the question is, well, who else? Judges, cops, prosecutors. I'm just getting started, bro. I'm letting you know this isn't even Fifth Gear. This is just me thinking about Fifth Gear. I think I was probably going to say something else, but I think I forgot. Anyway, this isn't even Fifth Gear yet. This is just me talking about, this is foreshadowing about Fifth Gear.